Okay, here we go. Part 3.
Okay. So it's important to find those hands and see them.
Yes, sir.
Were you instructed on the type of command to give a person when you confronted them in that way?
Yes, we were.
And what was that command?
And let me see your hands. Let me see your hands.
Okay. Was that taught to you more than once?
Yes, they drilled it into us.
Okay.
Okay, again, we're setting up that later when the jury hears, I couldn't see his hands and I told him to let me see my hands. Is it reasonable that she was going on her training and experience, which is what the Supreme Court says you must judge an officer's actions on? That's what we're doing here.
Did you receive any training regards to how close, if a suspect should get to you?
Yes, we did.
And what was that about?
The closer the suspect would get to us, it would be a bad day for us. You never wanted anyone to get close to you.
Okay.
Not a great answer. It would be a bad day if a suspect get close to you. I mean, a better answer, and again, if somebody's going to be here, I mean, half the people think I love this woman and I'm trying to get her off. The other half thinks I hate her. But look, that wasn't a good answer. She needs to be able to articulate when a suspect is close to you, the threat increases. Your reaction time is less. Distance is your friend. Distance gives you time to evaluate and gives you options so you can react. If you let a suspect decrease distance and get close to you, now you have a chance of him grabbing your gun or losing your gun or hitting you or striking you or stabbing you. So it's very important to keep distance so you have time to evaluate whether or not. So when I don't see someone's hands because it's dark and they're not complying and they're coming closer, I perceive that as a greater threat. And since I haven't cleared his hands, I have to assume that he means me, he intends to cause me danger. And since I was in my apartment, I thought I was in danger. That's how you tie all this together versus these sporadic answers that doesn't, again, you want to, anytime you're testifying, you want to take that, every answer has an opportunity to educate whoever you're giving the answer. You don't want, when you're teaching, they say teach to your audience. So if I'm teaching cops, I teach different than when I teach attorneys. I used to teach attorneys on child abduction law and seizing kids and things to look for when they talk to people and do things like that. And some of the attorneys hated me, some of them liked me. I didn't like attorneys, so some of the attorneys took offense to that. Some of them just got up and walked out. As soon as I said, I'm not a big attorney fan. I think a lot of you guys are kind of arrogant and, you don't want to listen. You think you know everything. But I said, I get it. You guys want to be cops and most cops want to be attorneys. So there's this conflict. So it wasn't personal, but a lot of guys were like, I'm not listening to this guy. They got him and walked out. What? I didn't care. I mean, I was up there to teach what I was going to teach. But again, I would teach different to attorneys than I would to cops. If I gave a drug class at school and I was teaching kids on the dangers of drugs, I would teach differently to them than I would if I had a room full of cops. So you teach to your audience. Well, when you're testifying, you have to testify not just for your attorney or not just for what you're thinking or not just for other cops or not using a bunch of cop lingo that only cops know. You have to testify to where you're testifying to an audience of a jury that doesn't understand what being a cop is. Why is it important to keep distance? Why is it important to see the hands? So you have to educate them as you're testifying.
And did you successfully graduate from the academy?
Yes, I did.
How'd that make you feel to go to that graduation ceremony?
I was happy.
Were your family and friends there?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
Big event. I always wanted to be a cop. I'm human. I was excited to be a cop. I did a lot of training to be a cop. I'm a good person.
Now, the Dallas Police Department is divided up into different patrol divisions. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What, and when you graduate, are you assigned to a particular division when you come out as a rookie officer?
Yes, sir, we were.
Okay, where were you assigned?
I was assigned to the Southeast Division.
As a kid, I was a police explorer for Dallas Police, and I was assigned to the Northwest Division. I don't even know if it's still around, if they still have it. And we wore like green tabs. I think Northwest wore green tabs back then. I don't know if they still have color codes for divisions or not. I don't hang out with the Dallas PD, so I don't really know. But the division is basically sectors of Dallas. Because it's so large, you have different sectors. So it's kind of like, you know, it's almost like a county. If Dallas City, if you make it a county, they make all these little cities within the county. So Dallas has these little substations, which are like separate counties within the city of Dallas. There's still Dallas police, but there's different little divisions. So she says she was assigned to the southeast, I believe.
Okay. And by that description, that covers the southeast part of Dallas?
Yes, sir.
Is that a division that you wanted to be assigned to?
Yes, it was.
And why did you want to be in the Southeast Patrol Division?
That's where we were always told where you could learn the most and grow the most as a police officer. You would see a different variety of crime, and it was just a place where you were always going to stay busy. You could never be bored there.
Okay, let me translate that. And I don't know how the jury heard that or how you heard it, not being a cop. That means Southeast Division is the shit area. You're going to get in a lot of shit. You're going to learn quick. You're going to get involved in a lot of shit, and you're going to become a quicker, better, seasoned officer than if you go to one of the nicer districts to where there's not as much crime and there's not as much violence. So that's what she just said. Whether or not you heard that, I don't know. But as a cop, that's what I heard.
Okay. And when you started as a patrol officer, are you put out on your own right away, or is there some further training?
There's some training you have to go through.
What type of training is that?
We have to ride, it's 3 phases, phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Each phase lasts about 6 weeks long, and we ride with a trainer.
Okay. And it's how many?
Now, she said trainer. I'm assuming that's an FTO. I don't know if they call them FTOs. Most agencies call them field training officers. And if you're an FTO, you get new trainees, and you get them for so many months, and then they transfer you to others, and they evaluate, and they tell you, you know, your officer safety wasn't bad, and they have to sign you off on all these, everything you do. You go to domestic, okay, on this domestic, there's a little evaluation sheet, and we fill it out. And on this domestic, you could have used officer safety. You didn't get them out of the kitchen. You let them get separated. You didn't take control of the scene. You just kind of evaluate them, tell them things they could have done better on every call. So you have to take a rape. You have to take a burglary. You have to take a robbery. You have to take a domestic. You have to take a prowler call. So anytime there's a new recruit, if there's a call that comes out over the air and they don't have you signed off, your FTO can get on the air and go, hey man, can we have that call? My trainee needs it training on that. And then you'll go take that call. And that's how, in order to get off FTO, the FTO is responsible for making sure he gets all these different crimes signed off.
How many weeks long with each one?
6 weeks.
Did you successfully make it through that type of training?
Yes, I did.
And after that, are you released on your own to patrol by yourself, or is there some further training?
There's a little more further training. We have to ride around with a little T partner, which is a more experienced officer.
Okay. And you made it through that?
Yes, sir.
After that, you were a regular patrol officer with the Dallas Police Department?
Yes, sir, I was.
And what types of duties do you have as a patrol officer?
We respond to calls mainly and just patrol the area.
Okay. How long did you do that?
I did it for a few years.
Okay. Did you find that type of police?
Okay, she said a few years, which is usually 3 or more. She's only been a cop for 5 years. I didn't do the numbers later. Later on, she says she's assigned to this crime suppression team or whatever they call it. But, so she just said, remember, a few years she was on patrol. That's not really that long, but 3 years. I mean, sometimes they make you do 2 years before you can apply for what's called a specialty assignment. Before you can move somewhere else, they want you to get some patrol experience.
Police work rewarding or as rewarding as you thought it'd be?
Yes, sir, I did.
At some point in your career, did you want to move up to another section in the police department?
Yes, I did.
And what was that?
It was our CRT, and it stands for Crime Reduction Team.
Okay, CRT, Crime Reduction Team. This has been around. They've always got these nifty little, we called it Crime Suppression CSU, Crime Suppression Unit. Whatever it is, it's all these, it's usually your high crimes unit. It's a mini task force within the agency. Basically, you don't have to shag calls. You're not on patrol. You go out there and you just run and gun. You look for gang members. You self-initiate. You follow up on high crimes areas. You follow up on drug areas. It's kind of like maybe a stepping stone if you want to get into SWAT or you want to do something else. It just gives you a little bit higher experience. you're working with a team, you always have a partner, and you're doing more high-risk stuff. And so that's what she's talking about when she goes this CRT, whatever the initials are.
Okay. Does each division, geographic or headquarters, like Southeast, Southwest, do they all have their own CRT team?
Yes, sir, they do.
Have you seen and know some of the officers that work in the Southeast CRT team?
I didn't know any at the time when I applied.
Okay. Tell the jury what the application process is about.
We put in an application, and once we have to go through an interview process in front of a couple of sergeants. They just go through a lot of scenarios and questions and what we would do in those instances.
Were you accepted to the CRT team?
Yes, I was.
And when was that?
That was in the beginning of January of 2017.
Okay.
Now, she doesn't look like a very physical, strong person that you want kicking doors, running and gunning and chasing. I wonder why she was accepted. That's a different video. Let's move on.
How many officers were in the CRT team with the section you were in?
There were 5.
And were you the only female officer?
Yes, sir, I was.
So out of 5 officers, now there's 4 male officers and 1 female on the team.
And what types of things does the CRT team do?
We focus primarily on drug complaints that we receive from citizens. We also create our own investigations, and just we would assist DEA, a lot of FBI, and if they needed help apprehending a wanted felon.
And how is that different from a regular patrol officer?
We don't respond to as many calls as a regular patrol officer would. It's more self-initiated activity.
Is it something different every day that you encounter on the CRT team?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Did you enjoy that?
I did.
All right. Now,
You can see in her face every time he asked, did you graduate? Did you do this? Did you pass? There's a little bit after she answers of, I lost my job. I'm never going to do that again. I mean, I just see it in her face a little bit. You can tell that's kind of, those are hard questions for her to answer because it makes her realize that it's over and she's not going to do it again.
You didn't know those officers real well when you joined, but did you quickly come to know?
Yes, I did.
And do you often work as partners in the CRT team?
Yes, we do.
Did you partner up with different officers when you first got into the division?
Yes, I did.
And you met Martin Rivera. He was part of that team?
Yes, sir, he was.
And did you know him at all before you joined the CRT?
No, I didn't.
Team?
No, sir.
Okay. After you had worked with some of the officers,
That little grin that she had there was, she knows what's coming. This is the guy that she was having an affair with, and they end up becoming close. They're partners. When you work with somebody every day, especially in high risk, there's just an attraction and there's a bonding that goes on. So it's not uncommon for cops to sleep with each other if they're of different sexes. So they're making it out to like, oh my God, this is horrible. I can't believe that somebody would sleep with their partner. Well, it happens quite a bit.
did you have a desire to work as a partner with Officer Rivera?
Yes, I did.
And tell the jury why.
He was the one officer that I looked up to, that he had a lot of experience, and I felt comfortable and safe around that we could find stuff and create our own work.
So she felt safe. This is a very female thing. I've never heard a cop say I liked another cop because I felt safe with him. When she said that, I was almost like, really? You like the guy because he made you feel safe? You're carrying a gun. You're a police officer. And to me, and maybe it's just my own bias. I just kind of found that kind of like, really? Are you kidding me? But anyway.
Had he been in the CRT, or was he the oldest officer on that team?
Yes, sir, he was.
And had the most experience?
Yes, sir.
Now, a little bit of this could be to set, there's a lot of women on the jury. I think they said there's 6 or 8 women on the jury. A lot of this could be to paint this guy as the older, more experienced officer who's married, and he took advantage of this poor little young, innocent new hire who looked up to him. That could be the backdrop of why he's doing this the way he's doing it. I don't know if it worked or if someone felt that way or if anybody hearing this is feeling that way. But that may be what he's trying to paint here.
Okay. And did y'all begin a close working relationship?
Yes, we did.
I'm going to object again to the ongoing leading.
Please don't leave, Mr. Ship.
As partners, how long would y'all stay?
Okay, so it looks like he kind of won that one because he changed the question. I couldn't hear the objection. I couldn't hear the judge, but he kind of rephrased the question.
Together during the day, during the shift?
8 hours a day.
Spend a lot of time together.
Yes, we did.
As far as Martin Rivera goes, did y'all develop an even closer relationship?
Yes, we did.
We've heard it.
You can read in her face. I talk about body language sometimes. You can read when she said it is that she has feelings and that this is a hard topic for her.
Evidence, we've seen evidence of text messages. We've heard some testimony from Officer Rivera. At some point in time after you became partners, did that develop into a sexual relationship?
Yes, it did.
Now, somebody may think that, what's the big deal? When you have to kind of say this in front of a bunch of strangers and in a jury when you're fighting for your life, this is BS to me that the prosecution, your only evidence for prosecution is she shot a guy with ice cream and she had an affair with a guy. First of all, the guy made the commitment, not her. Now, I'm not saying that she's an angel for doing it. She could have said no, but there was 2 consenting adults, and she didn't violate anyone's trust or marriage or vows by sleeping with this guy. And they're pretty much attacking her for this, trying to make her look bad. And to me, when you attack a witness or the cop, that means your case is weak. If you have good facts, you don't need to get into this BS on whether or not she slept with somebody. So I'm not a fan of the DA harping on this, on how big of a deal this has become. Big deal. She was sleeping with her partner who was married. To me, that is a small potatoes when there's a guy dead and you're trying to take away a person's life for 99 years because you just want, to appease a certain class of people who are threatening to riot and burn down your city. All right, I'm at 17 minutes. We'll make this part 3. We'll go into part 4.